Yo, what is going on, people? It is your boy, Man Like Will, in the building. And I have for you guys a phenomenal show right here for you guys today. We've done a preview show, a preview for the season earlier on in the season. And Tereak was there. And of course, Crab was there too. Shout out to Crab as well. But of course, when there's a preview, we have to do a review. And I think this is very much appropriate for what I have here. I have an illustrious panel, and I'll go ahead and introduce them one by one. Here to my left, I have here YG, man like Yorkshire Gunner in the house. What's good, big man?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Thanks for having me on, and it should be an interesting show.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for coming on here, man. I am a big fan of your channel. Your opinions they're very raw and very just out there, bro. And I really do respect your opinion. And of course, below me is man like Solomon. What's good, fam? What you saying?
Well, I'm doing good. I'm good. And big up everybody on the panel. It's always nice to have a chat with a fellow gunner in these desperate times.
Sorry, yeah.
It's a very desperate time.
Man said desperate times,
Yeah, honestly.
And last but certainly not least, yeah, my brother, man like Tereak. What's good, bro?
I'm all good. Big up the panel each and every time. Thanks for inviting me on, Will. Like, I haven't even been on a stream in ages. So you managed to do something that I can't even drag myself to do. So I really appreciate it, though. Big up everyone.
Nah, of course, man. Of course. Listen, I do appreciate every single one of you for pulling up. Despite everything, we all have one thing in common, and that is the love for, unfortunately, this club right here. Do you know what I mean? And even it can drive us apart. It can make us cry, but we're still here in it. But listen, man, we have to talk about this. So I guess I'll break the ice here. You know what I mean? My first way, I guess, to break this down here is, how would you, man, really rank this season out of 10? And I'm gonna start with you, Solomon. If you really had to think about it, because I know you were speaking to a Yorkshire off camera. But I think this is just a great way to break this down here. How would you rank this season from a scale of 1 to 10? This, with everything happening, we finished with no trophies. We did get a new sporting director. We did go into the semifinals of the UEFA Champions League for the first time in so long. Put all that into perspective. How would you rank it?
Well, actually, I don't know, but I did big up everybody once again. Let me just say, concerning the way this season has panned out, honestly, I won't tell you lie. If I would grade us the best, I would grade the team at the moment is a C. If I was supposed to grade from A to F, A being the best and F being the worst. I don't know if you understand what I mean, right? So if I would give us a C, because basically, yeah, we finished second. Yeah, which is not bad if you look at it. If you look at that particular stance, ordinarily as a position on its own, but considering what we are supposed to be doing and what we expect ourselves to be, where we expect ourselves to be, that's not actually good enough. It's actually a failure. But you cannot tell me we finished second and then I can't totally call it a fail. So that's why I'm giving I won't call it a fail, and it's not really a pass. So I guess it's an average season for me. It's an average season for me. It's a C for me if I was supposed to grade between A to F. So in 1 to 5, that would be 3.
Okay. So you basically saying it's not good, it's not bad, it's just so. It's basically
yeah. It's just ordinary.
That's probably a 6 out of 10 then.
That's what I'm about to say. You know what I mean? Because I love how man.
But guys, the truth is, let's not take away. Let's not take the fact away that we came second. We came second.
Right. Yeah, and we did get further into the Champions League. Further.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, I can hear what you're saying. Saying that done okay, but not to what we kind of anticipated. Yorkshire Gunner, onwards to you in it. What do you make of it? How do you rate it with everything put into into perspective?
For me, it's short and simple. I rate it out of 10. I rate it 2 out of 10, and the 2 is only because we got to 2 semi-finals. That's it.
Okay. Okay. Can you go into more deep into how you would say just like why it would be a 2 out of 10?
I
Yeah.
feel that's Ash.
Say again.
I feel that's Ash, honestly.
All right. The reason why I give it a 2, obviously the 2 semi-finals. That's about it. This was a season that we were expected to win the league. I made a video 10 months ago. This was before last season started, and I said I would put a house on it that if Man City was to fall off this season, it wouldn't be Arsenal that win the league. Because and I went into that because I know the manager that we have. I know the manager that's going to be kept at this club as long as we keep getting Champions League football. And his decision making at the back end of the seasons, every season, has been consistently the same, which has led to this outcome. And we go into this season, and it was from the Brighton game. I said, and the third, I think it was like the third game in. It was in August of last year. Once when we drew that game, I said we're not winning the league. That's when I said the title's over. From that game, I knew from that game what I was going to see for the rest of the season. And Liverpool come out of, I wouldn't say nowhere because of being up there, but they just came in with a new manager, and it was no contest really. It was literally they just stayed consistent. We were consistently inconsistent, and then seeing the teams that have won the trophies this season makes it even worse. So for it being a season that we should have won the league and we came away with absolutely nothing, the 2 out of 10 is simply because 2 semi-finals. So that's how I come to that conclusion.
I hear that, and Solomon, we'll get to you saying why it was harsh in just 1 second. I do want to get Tereak's opinion on this because T, you and I all season we've been going back and forth as to I like this whole season, saying the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, given everything that has happened, the season has come to a close. What is your take?
It has been a very difficult season. From, as YG said, the third game, it has been difficult. We've had things not go our way in terms of decisions. We've had injuries not go our way. We've had poor recruitment in the summer where we didn't do enough in terms of what the issues that we had going into the season. And we took a risk. We rolled the dice, and the gamble failed, unfortunately, in terms of that front. And we even did it in January as well. But I don't share the same sentiment in the fact of YG's pure disappointment, because I do think we have had some positives from this season as well, in the fact that we found Miles Lewis-Skelly. Look at the quality and opportunity, injuries, and we wouldn't have really found him if it wasn't for the injury crisis and the amount of injuries that we faced this season. Calafiori came in with a lot of money, needed some time to settle. I mean, even when Mikel Merino came in, he came in and didn't even play his first game for a while because he got an injury in training. So that kind of shows how the luck went our way in there. So even the signings that we had come in, they've missed a large portion of it. But as you said, getting far into the Champions League, into the semi-final, nobody predicted that, especially when you saw Gabriel Magalhaes go down in that Fulham game, and then people were talking about Kivior versus Mbappe. We have found players. Kivior upped his level. David Raya, he was immense, I thought. Gabriel, when he was fit, he was amazing as well. And yeah, it has been difficult. We've had a lot of challenges. And who would have said at the beginning of the season, if you take away Bukayo Saka for 3 months, Martin Odegaard for 2 months, Gabriel for 2 months, and those players, and having to deal with these amount of injuries and red cards, I wouldn't have predicted Arsenal to finish second. I didn't think that we'd be able to go through that. So yeah, second's not a trophy, and it's not something to we wanted to kick on, and us as fans and the team believe that they can win a big trophy like the Champions League or the Premier League. But I do think there has been steps been taken as well, and I think it's a massive season for learning. I wouldn't say it's disappointing in the fact that we've not got something to show for it, silverware to show for it, but we did make the semi-final of the Carabao Cup. We made the semi-final of the Champions League. Yeah, and finishing second, given the circumstances, I don't think it's as bad. So I'd say a 6 out of 10 as well. I agree with Solomon, just about a pass, given the fact that we're in our 3rd season of competing now, going into our 4th, of really competing for the biggest trophies and wanting to win at least one of them. And I think the team and the manager want to win all of them. That's the type of mentality, and not to come away with anything to show for it is disappointing. But yeah, 6 out of 10 for me.
I hear it. But Solomon, you said that YG's assessment was just a bit harsh.
Yeah. I believe his assessment is a bit. And I get the reason. First of all, let me just say this. I get the reason why Yorkshire Gunner would say it has been disappointing and you score it 2 out of 10. Really, I get it. I get disappointment because you're expecting that after coming second so much to Manchester City, if at all anything's supposed to come up, then it's supposed to be Arsenal. But the truth of the matter is that I know it's not an excuse. I know if I say this, many of you will say it's an excuse. Just like he mentioned just now. Arsenal, we cannot take away the injuries. We cannot take away what has happened to the team. Yes, we know it's not an excuse, but those things actually were part of the reasons. Let me tell you something. If what happened to Arsenal happened to many of those teams, no team survives that too. Liverpool, when they had that injury, they also fell off. We also fell off. And City, when City didn't even get as much as as injured as we do, and they also fell off. So for me, Liverpool, it's not. I know it will sound like an excuse, but for me, I believe that it is harsh because considering the injury, considering the fact that we didn't have a striker and everything that's happened to the team, for us to finish second and at least semi-final of the Champions League, and don't forget that we also got to the Carabao Cup semi-final. I think definitely 2 is very harsh. 2 is very harsh. I just feel it's very harsh.
I mean, go ahead, YG. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just taking myself off mute, just waiting until you.
Oh no. So basically, I mean, I'm kind of in the mixture of both both Tereak and YG, in the sense that, for me, boys, I feel like if I mean, yes, PSG, when we got into the semifinals, I think that was a great accomplishment. To be honest, I didn't think that we would actually get past Real Madrid, which was cool, and I will say that much. But I feel like at the end of the day, I think our performance within the league was just it could have been better. It was a bit disappointing. I think we can all somewhat agree with that. I think we could have done better. I think also domestically with the Carabao Cup, yes, we got to semifinals, but I think we should have come away with at least one trophy, at least. Do you know what I mean? Bare minimum was that. Because with the amount of money I think we have invested, I think in the summer as well, which I think is also another factor. I think I was going to open to the floor here. I think if we had better planning, I think we could have achieved more. Which kind of goes to my next question here. Should have our Arteta had better planning, had better planned things out within the like last summer. If he had better preparations, do you think we would have achieved better, like had more success?
He's still the same guy that he always has been, and he's shown it. I'll go back to April 2023. Obviously, we all know what happened in 2023 season. We're top of the league, 8 points clear. And Trossard, who we signed in that January of that year, we were unbeaten when he started games. And he was player of the month for the month of March of 2023. He started him against Leeds United on April Fool's Day, where we won 4-1 at the Emirates. And then for the rest of that month, for some reason that we don't know of, the manager decided to bench Trossard throughout that month. So that was when the next game was Liverpool at Anfield, I think it was, when we drew 2-2. And then West Ham away, we drew 2-2. Southampton at home, we drew 3-0, and then we lost 4-1 against Man City. So he benched his best player throughout that month of April for whatever reason. I don't know why. He decides to play Rob Holding over Kivior, who we signed in that January of 2023. And it was only after the title was pretty much done, he started involving these players again. Now, I'm not saying that he's got this agenda to just try not to win anything. It's just he felt the need to make those decisions in that crucial time, which didn't make sense. There was no injuries to Trossard or anything. He decided, I'm going to forego my best player at the time for whatever reason he felt, and then brought him back in only when Martinelli got injured against Brighton. And he did all this while at the same time rushing back Jesus, who came back from a knee injury that he picked up in the World Cup. So he has a tendency to rush players back from injury because, I don't know, he wants to satisfy everyone. And he did the similar thing in 2024. I won't be able to show it now because I'm not on my on StreamYard. But that run in 2024, from January 2024 till the end of the season, we won all our games apart from 2 of them, drew against City and lost against Villa. The Villa loss was the only game this manager decided, I'm going to put Kai Havertz back in midfield, that we all knew didn't work at the start of the season. He decided to put him back in midfield for that game against Villa so he can rush Jesus back in as a number 9. Bear in mind, the first quarter of 2023-24 season, he put Partey at right back for some strange reason, and he decided to put Gabriel on the bench, our now best defender, for reasons I can only speculate. And his hand was only forced when he got injured before the Man United game. So this manager has a track record of making decisions that ultimately don't favour the outcome for what we're trying to achieve, and he'll just keep doing it. And I predicted he'd do it again this season. And we saw how we treat I wouldn't say Martinelli, Wanyeri. Wanyeri looked like our Saka replacement. Saka comes back, he wants nothing to do with Wanyeri anymore. So Wanyeri can't see the big games that maybe he might have done something in it. So that's down to the manager's decision making for what he has, for what he's chosen. Now we can talk about the owners, which the owners picked this guy, but the owners didn't tell. I won't even say his name. The owners didn't tell this manager, do not sign a striker. You can only sign defenders and midfielders. Though I know for sure the owners don't tell the managers, you're not signing a striker. I'll let you have everything, but an out and out number 9. So it's decision making with the manager.
I mean, yeah, I feel like that's one of the things that's one of the main issues I've seen this year as well. Well, this season, I should say, because I think we all seen that Bukayo Saka, we've all demanded for him just to have a rest and to have somewhat of a good understudy. We've been screaming for someone to have to come in for either transfer window or from the academy, and we all have seen how much that Ethan Nwaneri has blossomed into such a quality player. He really is a gem, and the chances that he has played, and then we all have seen that how he can really be that much of that key. He can be truly a key player for us. And when we've seen other players who not really been given that much of a chance, with the exception to Miles Lewis Skelly, who when Calafiori was I believe injured, he has been given much more of a chance, which is kind of strange because how he would favor Miles Lewis Skelly a lot compared to Ethan Nwaneri, not giving him much of a chance. I think it's strange. But T, what do you make of things? Like, do you reckon that when it comes to like Arteta's decision making on and possibly off the pitch, do you reckon that has kind of like we praised him for a lot of his innovations with the squad, but do you think that some of those perversions may have came back to kind of rear its ugly head and may have been kind of like a detriment for us this season?
Simply, no, not really. And I think, given the circumstances, I think he's managed it really, really well. Given the circumstances, Arsenal coming into the season, nobody would have predicted here that Nwaneri would have played 37 games for Arsenal, and that Miles Lewis Skelly would be our starting left back at the age of 18. After we've just invested how much money into a left backs because they can't sustain their fitness. Same as Zinchenko. That's why we even had to sign another left back, Calafiori, Tierney. The whole reason we moved on from Tierney is because of injury issues and whatnot. And we've had solid depth there, but Miles Lewis Skelly had the opportunity and took it. Ethan Nwaneri took it initially, and then he started to struggle a little bit. I remember in particular the Man United game, Everton away as well, even Brentford at home. Like, he was giving him opportunities there. And then I think that the manager's made a decision. You've played a lot of minutes. You're still developing. You've only just turned 18 because he turned 18 in March. We've got to kind of protect you a little bit. There's not many 18-year-olds who have played as many minutes or as games as Ethan Nwaneri. The one that springs to mind for everyone is Lamine Yamal, but that's one of the best talents we'll probably ever see in football. So I think it's very difficult to try and compare him to that because Nwaneri's not quite there. And what we've seen with Miles Lewis Skelly is a physical growth and a development. He wasn't trusted to begin with. I think he made his first start in December against Everton. That was his first start in the Premier League. He made a start against Monaco, and he just kept it on from there. And you've seen him be physically at the level to play 3 games a week. And we haven't quite seen that from Nwaneri yet. And it's different. It's different. People develop differently physically. And and managers have got to be careful with this. We did the exact same thing with Saka, by the way, in the season that we won the FA Cup. We played him a lot, and then by the time that we went into the latter stages of the FA Cup, Saka wasn't even a part of it. He wasn't starting. That's where we moved Maitland-Niles out there. We had Tierney, David Luiz, Mustafi, and whatnot in the back.
And Saka was playing like different positions. He was playing at left back. He played at left wing.
He was at left wing back, and then we dropped him onto the bench because he was there. Yeah. Physically, you got to develop because you can't burn these players out. Look, the thing is, that's what I find interesting because we burnt Saka out and we played him too much, and then we're asking him to do the same thing with Ethan Nwaneri. Like, this is what's not making sense from when I hear that opinion of some people. So, but yeah. Given the circumstances, so I've just mentioned those 2 youngsters there. The strikers that you do have, we already went into this season light. And we know Arteta, from what he has said as well, he has wanted to improve on the firepower. In the game that we lost to Bayern Munich, he says we need more box efficiency. We need more. Look, that's the difference between us and Bayern Munich. And then a year later, that was the difference between us and PSG. PSG didn't create more than us. They just took their chances. They were ruthless. And that's because we haven't made a check. We haven't made a difference. We haven't recruited enough in that area. We brought in Sterling, which was clearly not at the level. Arteta saw that from early. Remember, me and you were like, when is Sterling going to get a chance? But he just clearly knew that he wasn't at it. And yeah, I think that's a club decision for me. I think the fact that Edu leaving doesn't, and he kind of having his bags packed and being ready to go to Nottingham Forest and take that new opportunity didn't help. Let in January Jason Ato, an interim with no experience of being a sporting director at the top level in ever having a transfer window to himself. We went through too much change, having no strikers, the risk that we took, and then Gabriel Jesus, just when he hit into form and looked like he was going to make a difference, just as we found him, because we took a long time for him to find his level again. Bang, ACL in the FA Cup in the first half against Man United. And then we get to the Dubai break. We get to the break with some Havertz flogging him every week. And then in training, he goes and pops his hamstring and he's out for 3 to 4 months. Like, this is what I mean. Like, I think this has been, and I've mentioned this, I think this has been his best, Arteta himself, his best season of coaching and managing issues. Because when YG mentioned when we had those injuries in 2023 and we had Saliba and Tomiyasu both go out in the same game, it took him longer to realize Kivior is actually better for us than Holding. He put too much trust in Holding in that sense. And then even last season, the season before, it took him a while for him to realize maybe Havertz is better as a striker than he is in midfield. I think he adapted quite quickly. The fact that we started Trossard up against Leicester. Remember how awful that game was. We had Trossard, Sterling, Nwaneri, and
yes.
Nwaneri was shining in that. But Trossard and Sterling were awful. Found Marino off the bench. Found Marino off the bench, and then he continued. And Marino was a big reason why we even finished second, to be quite honest with you. Because without Marino's goals, we might not even be in the Champions League places right now. Because he scored some big goals for us in that period. Managing Kivior, bringing him in as well. Even situations, our right back, no Benjamin White. If you look at our right pod of White, Ødegaard, Saka, that's what got us to 89 points. That's what our USP, our special part of the pitch was. And all three of them have been out for at least 3 months. And Ødegaard struggled with that, having different players in and around him, having to try and not having the same relationships. Partey, thankfully, he stayed fit. Otherwise, we'd have been in big trouble because even Declan Rice was struggling in the first half of the season. So, yeah, I think that himself, in terms of his coaching, this has been his best season. However, I think the problems that we made as a club, and I don't just blame it on Arteta, I don't just blame it on Edu in this, I thought as a whole club, is that we took the risk in not getting forwards, not one forward, two forwards in the summer. And we didn't even, when we lost Jesus, we took the risk again. Arteta was there. He was saying, I want a striker, but Arteta isn't the one who's going out there to negotiate. He has a big part to play in transfers, and I've had some criticism for him because like Solomon is wearing the Nigeria top right now. I've said, why not Oshiman? Why not get him in there? But it's clear
Thank you very much.
He's not massive.
Thank you very much.
He's not massive on his character and personality. You know me, Will. We've been speaking about Ivan Toney as well, but that's another thing that we've come out and that's come out, and it makes sense that they're not massive on his personality and character either. So those are the little criticisms I have of Arteta. But as a whole, I don't think the club have been proactive enough in the attack, in the forward line. Look at how ruthless we've been at the back. Ramsdale, see you later. Zinchenko, Tierney, see you later. We're quick to replenish over there. We're quick. Even bringing in Timber, real competition. But we haven't brought that sort of competition for the likes of Saka. We haven't really done it for the likes of Havertz either. And we haven't done it well. On the left wing, we could improve on that. I think that's an area that we could improve in the summer. And we could have improved last summer, but we decided not to. We decided to roll the dice, and that failed. So, yeah, I think it's been a big season of learning. But I would say I think Arteta has been quite impressive in his coaching this season.
Will, can I say something?
Of course, I'm going.
Now, let me just say something. First of all, let me tell you, I can stand to face anyone, and there is no one in the Arsenal fan base that would tell me that Arteta has not been a good manager. He has done a very good job so far. I'm not saying he should have gotten us over the line. Yes, he has done enough. Like I said, like Tereak just said, we knew we needed a striker about 4 seasons. And I remember your gunner saying that, oh, he got Havertz, he did this, right? Havertz was signed 2 seasons ago. We are kind of bringing it 2 seasons ago. Let me tell you something. We have actually tried we brought in, look at the way we have strengthened our defense. Look at our midfield. But look at it, we are malnourished in the attack. We were malnourished in the attack every day. We all knew that was possible. Now, putting the whole blame on Arteta is unfair because number one, we all know he's a rookie manager. We knew this is his first time in the job. This is the first time he's on the job. And then you now see a fan saying that, okay, yeah, he definitely will make mistake. What is important is give him what he needs. But let's ask ourselves question. Is the board actually, are they giving him enough for us to demand for the league? Do you think they've given him enough to demand for him to have won us a title? Okay. Hold on, let me tell you. Okay. Before you go on, hold on. When I mean title, yes, you can talk about when I mean title, I'm not talking about the FA Cup, I'm not talking about the Carling Cup. All I care about, I'm talking about the majors, talking about the Premier League and the Champions League. Because for me, for a big club like us now, I can't expect us to spend 6 years. And then you think, if we had won the Carling Cup this season, I still would have said it was a shit season for us personally, because I feel like we shouldn't be, or at this level, we shouldn't be dragging for that cup. We need the league. We are thirsty and hungry for the league, not the FA Cup. Yes, if we get it, I'll be shameless. I'll celebrate it and I want it. But what I'm saying is this: we have not done enough to actually won the league. Let's be honest. Yes, we could have done enough to have won the cup one way or the other, but he has done what he has squeezed the best he can from this squad. The board has not been running the cup properly. We've been shambles from head to toe. That's one fact I want to point out. I want to point out to people. I know that, and I will not join everybody to say, "Oh, it's just all about Arteta." I believe the board has a lot to do with what is on ground, especially with Arsenal.
YG, do you agree with that? That does the Kroenkes have much to do with it as much as Arteta do when it comes to running Arsenal at the moment?
Yeah, the Kroenkes, they're the ones that got this man in, but they gave him money. Like I said, the Kroenkes are not telling Arteta, and I said his name. The Kroenkes are not telling this manager, no, I don't want you to sign a forward. You sign everything else, but I'm not giving you this money to sign a striker. We spent how many millions since this guy came in, and only approximately 65 million pounds of it was on forwards. Like, what's the excuse for only spending less than 100 million on forwards, but you've spent money everywhere else? He signed a lot of goalkeepers since he's been here, defenders and midfielders, but for some reason, he has this, he feels like he gets an anaphylactic shock at the thought of signing a striker. Look how he treated Aubameyang. At one point, he was playing him as a wing back. Seeing that that's what he wants to do to an out-and-out goal scorer, fans want me to try and put trust in this same manager with signings going forward from now. It's going to be the same theme that we've been seeing for the past 5 years under this manager, and there's nothing much that's going to change. That the owners will give him money, and he'll spend it. He'll be spent where he wants to see fit. Apparently, Berta wants Gyökeres, the striker that scored 53 goals in 51 games or something like that, and for some reason he favours a player who scored about 15 goals in I can't remember how many games in the Bundesliga, and everyone's comparing him to everyone's saying that Sesko is another Kai Havertz, which if that's true, that would suit this manager. But this manager said that when we got kicked out of the Champions League, that we needed a 30 plus goal a season striker to essentially get over the line, which means it's a no-brainer. You go get Gyökeres. The release clause is there. He ain't going to cost that much, but he's going to put faith in Sesko, apparently. And I'm meant to sit here and put trust in him, because the fact of the matter is for me, more than anything, I want a new manager more than I want a new striker, because I just know what the theme is going to be with this manager, because I've got 5 years of evidence to back me up on everything I'm saying. So it's a recurring theme. We've seen the second place finishes that we've seen, and this one, out of the lot of them, has been the worst. Second place. We can say it was injuries. We had so many injuries. We were 9 points behind Liverpool before Saka got injured. So I don't know how much this injuries excuse is going to stick, knowing that we were 9 points behind Liverpool when he got injured. That shows that we weren't competing compared to the last 2 seasons.
First of all, YG, you're getting a lot of love here in the comments. Yeah, shout out to the homies over there at Eagle Eye Football, Crystal Palace fan channel. Big up to you, man, as well, fam. Do you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure it's gonna be some exceptional content going to be going next season, as you man gonna be traveling the road for Europe. But
Winter Palace, they they did something we couldn't do this season. You know, they have a manager that has some pedigree, and he got over the line with, Crystal Palace, having previously got over the line with Frankfurt. So congrats to Palace on winning the FA Cup. And yeah,
no, definitely. But back to what you were saying earlier about you would rather want a new manager than wanting to have a new striker. If you were say Josh Kroenke at the moment, yeah, and you were to sack Arteta, I know this has probably been asked to you a few times, but if you were to bring a new manager, I know you've been asked this a lot, haven't you, bro?
It's just what I've heard it being said to other people.
If you were given the keys, yeah,
who
would
you
bring in?
For me personally, I want a manager that has won the Champions League before, because this football club's never had that. And I think for me, it's crucial that this club gets a manager that's done it all before, so he can install that mentality in this club. For example, when you look at Chelsea, they're a European powerhouse now. Before they weren't that before. They managed to get over. I mean, it was Di Matteo that got over the line. But the point of the matter is once they got over the line, they've now turned into this European powerhouse. But I see it as Ancelotti was number one for me, but obviously he's gone to Brazil. So the next one down the list, even though I'd rather a manager that's won the Champions League, the next one down the list is Allegri, and then there's Diego Simeone. And I'm not talking these managers because they'll be here for 10 years.
None of them have won the Champions
League. We have a manager that is here for a few years and gets us over the line, because these managers tend to not last that long at their clubs, but they tend to win stuff at their clubs. If we got one of them to get over the line, that could install the mentality in this club, so that another manager coming in could follow on from that mentality that's been installed. Us getting Arteta, a rookie manager, to do all this is basically the club taking the fans for mugs, basically saying he's a rookie, he's never done this before, but just wait, because the success is coming.
YG, can I ask you a question?
Right, okay, it's coming. That's what they'll try and sell us, but not even winning.
Let him finish, and then you can go ahead. Okay,
we're not even winning cups in this process. He won an FA Cup, and he's only won 2 FA Cup games since he last won the FA Cup. That's a shambles. A competition that we've won the most times. We've now got Man United trailing us now, trailing closely behind us on that. He can't even win an EFL Cup we haven't won since 1993. He can't even deliver us that. Like, if I can understand the people who back Arteta if he was winning cups in the meantime, but he just couldn't get over the line in the league. I'd understand, but he's not getting anything. And for the money he spent, you would expect that he'd get some cups. At the same time, you look at, we've spent £65 million on forwards since he took over full time. Under Wenger, we never had this problem of he's just going to avoid signing a player of certain positions. He always signed somebody. Anytime anybody left, when Van Persie left, when Sanchez left, when all these players left, he always signed somebody. It might not be somebody that we rated, but he always got, if a forward left, another one comes in. I remember when Gallas went to Tottenham for free in 2010, he got Scolacci and Koscielny at the same time in that window. So that's him replacing, because he's lost a player in the transfer window.
So YG, yeah, I want to quickly get Tereak in here. As far as like getting into the conversation, you want to you want to have like a quick rebuttal to this. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's clear to see you, YG, and you're not the only. There's plenty of Arsenal fans that share your similar view on Arteta. But if you look at the best players that we have in our team right now, the best players that we have in our squad, they're obviously bought into the project with Arteta. If they didn't rate him, I don't think they'd be even discussing new contracts right now, because Arteta's taken us and them up to a level where they can get the Real Madrids of this world interested in them, and they could leave on a free and even get that and have that type of make money and make even more money than they would at Arsenal. You're seeing the likes of the signings that are coming in. Zubimendi, I don't know what your thoughts are about him, but the best clubs in the world have wanted him as well. The team that have just won the league wanted him. Real Madrid, very public in how they wanted him as well. Bayern Munich, even, whatnot. We've wanted him for a while too. Declan Rice, he's been able to manage to convince those players to come into Arsenal. And that's not a signing that Arsenal made. Even in Arsenal's most successful periods, in when we won the league and was invincible, we weren't shopping in that type of market. That was the market that Man United were in. That was the market then when Chelsea got taken over, they were in. And then Liverpool have only probably really just entered that elite upper echelon market right now with Florian Wirtz. So Arteta has taken us from a position where we were winning trophies and finishing 8th, and we weren't happy. And we were winning trophies, finishing 4th, and we wasn't happy because we didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. We didn't see the progression. This has been the first season where we have regressed. And that's when me and Solomon and other people say, look at the circumstances. In the league, that's the first season we regressed. But in the Champions League, we've probably taken our biggest step since, 2009? And this one's probably even more impressive because we beat Real Madrid going into that. And Arsenal what made the Champions League semi-finals 3 times in our history. So it doesn't happen regularly. It doesn't happen often. So that's my question is to you. Even though the people in the club, the players within the club, and other players, and the likes of Gyökeres, who you would like, clearly sounds like he'd like to come to Arsenal. Šeško, who's attracted by many others, would like to come to Arsenal. Vice versa. We are now an attractive place to come and be, and they see potential on this manager. Don't you think that can give you a little bit of trust in that we might actually get over the line eventually with this manager? Mate, I don't think we're going to have too much longer. We're not going to wait another 5 years without a trophy or something like that. But don't you think that we're in and around it?
No, I don't. It does not give me any trust in this manager because, like I said, the pattern that I've seen with this manager, the way he will run these players into the ground. We know Kivior's as good as what he is now because Gabriel got injured. Take away the injury from Gabriel, Kivior doesn't get a sniff unless somebody gets injured at left back. That's the pattern that we've seen all season. It got so bad. Can't remember what game it was. He put Partey at right back I think he had Skelly at left back, obviously. It was when he put Partey at right back and he had...
Are you on about the Liverpool game? When we
I can't remember which game it was. Basically, he could have played Kivior at centre back. Oh, that's it. He put Kivior at left back to put Ben White at centre back so he can put Partey at right back, something like that. I remember he could have just played Kivior as a centre back. He didn't even want to do that.
Wasn't it the Bournemouth game that did that happen or no?
I can't remember which game it was.
I think it could be. Was it this season, YG? Because against Liverpool, we ended the game with Lewis Skelly left back, Kivior centre back with Ben White, and then Partey at right back.
There was a game. It was a game. I can't remember.
It could be Liverpool.
There was a game where Kivior wasn't even preferred at his actual position, and there was even another point where he was on the bench for Partey being at right back or someone being in some position, but he didn't want to play Kivior, and I don't know why. So yeah, I don't trust him at all because, like I said, he's going to run these players into the ground, like he always will do, because he doesn't really fancy he don't really like the art of rotating too much, and we've seen that. That's why these players are getting picking up these injuries. When you've got a player like Kai Havertz who can't run, that's tearing up his hamstring, you know something's wrong even with that. So for him being here and us getting these players coming in, I still don't trust him, because let's just say we get whoever it's going to be, striker, and they score goals, which they should do. He'll play that player 90 minutes every single game, even in games that we will look at and say, well, maybe you can rotate and put so-and-so there for this game. For example, I'll give you a perfect example, actually. We beat PSV 7-1 in the first leg of the last 16 of the Champions League. Why did he play Gabriel with Saliba at centre-back in the second leg when we were 7-1 up? That's exactly what I'm talking about. He didn't need to play Gabriel in a game that we were already 7-1 up in from the first leg. That was stupid. That's where he could have put Kivior. And then had Kivior been rotated into this team even more, we'd be looking at the fact that we have Kivior doing what he's doing now, and then we've got Gabriel on the bench that we can bring off, or Kivior on the bench that we can bring off because Gabriel's doing what he's doing. there isn't one game this season he took off a centre back because we were winning the game comfortably to bring on Kivior. He didn't do it not one time. The only time he made subs at centre back was because somebody got injured. So that's the same problem we're going to see all over the team, and that's just what life has been like at Arsenal. Having this manager here who doesn't fancy the art of rotating.
So you reckon that no matter who we you reckon that no matter who we bring in or who we have here, the manager is going to run them into the ground. Is basically essentially what you're trying to say, YG? Correct?
Yeah, against Preston in the EFL Cup, he brought on Saka 3-0 up. Why? He didn't need to. He did not need to bring on Saka at all.
Though. I hear it too. And honestly,
that's what I'm talking about when I talk about him running players into the ground. He'll play players in games that he doesn't need to, and then he won't make the suitable rotations when needed to. Proper managers that know what they're doing, will know. Oh well, if we're winning 7-1 from the first leg, I won't play the same centre back, my best centre back pairing. I'll give him a night off because my second choice centre backs should see this game out. But for some reason, Gabriel played the whole 90 minutes, and Gabriel Saliba will continue to play 90 minutes when Gabriel comes back fit, and Kivior will barely get a sniff.
I hear it. Solomon, quickly, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, so I want to ask you, you're gonna a question. How many games did Mo Salah play this season? How many games was Mo Salah rested this season?
I'm not sure exactly. I don't keep up with Liverpool's numbers.
Now, how many rests did Van Dijk get? I mean, a match where Van Dijk is fit and he was on the bench. He didn't start.
This season, Van Dijk. I don't know any numbers for the Liverpool team.
Let me tell you something. Let me give you my point. When you have a good player, he will play. Now, let me tell you something. Of course, you have a point, and I'm not justifying Arteta's on this particular point, but we are fond of using this flogging him with this particular stick all the time. That he doesn't actually rest players. He played Saka to the ground. Let me tell you something. There is no way your best player is fit and you expect your best player to be benched when it is important. Now, yes, I know he got injured and it's not fair. He's talking about he deserves the rest. But let me tell you, Mo Salah is older than Saka. Mo Salah is older than Saka and played more games than Saka in the Premier League last season. He didn't get injured. We were unfortunate that Saka got injured. It was not Arteta's fault. But there was no replacement. Let me tell you something. If Arteta starts a game without Bukayo Saka or without Gabriel or somebody that's supposed to be in the team, or because and he started Kivior or did something, and then we lost that game, I'm telling you, you will be the same person that would attack him for not fielding the right teams. Now, let me tell you something. We don't have quality enough. This team was not quality, it's not stacked enough. And for me, it was unfortunate that Saka got injured, which I understand. But the truth of the matter is that not just because he overplayed him, that's why he got injured. He got injured because we were unlucky. Salah played more game than he did last season. Van Dijk played more game than Gabriel last season. And Van Dijk didn't get injured. When you get injured, it's luck. It's purely luck. And I believe I don't think we should be flogging him with that stick, because if a player is good, the player should start. And all these games that you're talking about, we didn't actually lose those games. That was not the game that cost our season. It was those games that we didn't have enough players to actually play that games. That was why we lost the game. So that's what I wanted. What the points I wanted to point. When we keep saying that, we all know this guy is a rookie manager and he is not new in the job. But we shouldn't always assume and just flog him with that stick.
Man, I'm sorry, but I have to ask you, who the hell is that walking without their shirt on, bro? Brother,
it's a friend of mine.
Oh, what the hell is this, man? God damn.
I know the season that Liverpool won the EFL Cup, that had a lot of players injured, so that already destroys Arteta not being able to do anything with players injured. But yeah, as for if Saka didn't play, if he didn't start Saka in this game or Gabriel in this game and we lost, right, I'd be the same person that would be saying he should have played so and so. I've been crying for this manager to give Saka rest for about 2 years now. because he's been running him into the ground. All throughout that 2023 season, Saka's getting kicked all over the place. He's limping off the pitch every single game. There was even one point I said, I think in the transfer window going into 2024 season, I said, I want a striker and I want a right-sided player that can play as a striker. But if I had to choose, I'd choose the right-sided player who can play as a striker easily, just to take the load off Saka. Because we knew then how good Saka is. We know that I don't want him to be playing every single game while he's not getting subbed off. He's playing 90 minutes in games. He doesn't need to play 90 minutes. Giving him a rest doesn't always have to mean don't play him in this game. Giving him a rest could mean you're starting on the bench for this game, and I'll bring you on for like 15 minutes.
But YG, this is a football problem as a whole, like not just an Arsenal Arteta specific issue. As Solomon said, Salah plays every game and almost every minute of every game. Rodri played
I think he missed a few games.
Injured. He got a hamstring injury. Yeah. That really affected him, and that affected Liverpool. Liverpool were coping with that injury crisis that they had. They did really well. They were top of the league in and around that. But eventually it took its toll on them. And we saw the same with the likes of Bournemouth as well this season. When they had an injury crisis, they were going okay. But then it really takes a toll because the minutes that are going in their legs. The same thing happens to Rodri. Too many games. And it's not just Arsenal overplaying Saka. England. Do you remember when Saka picked up his first hamstring injury? It was in a game against Greece.
He keeps going to international duties. I've said in my videos about he keeps going to the international duties. But again, this manager is he's the one, the Kroenkes aren't saying keep playing Saka. The manager is the one that was playing him consistently and for 90 minutes in games. The game where we're winning, the game where we're winning, he's still seeing the whole 90 minutes. And if he could get away with it, he'd barely get a rest. And this is what we're saying. He knows, and everybody knows, and it's been said, Saka could do a competition on the right-hand side. Because when it comes to Martinelli and Trossard, they're getting rotated. Trossard's coming off for Martinelli, or Martinelli's coming off for Trossard. Saka's barely coming off for anybody unless he gets injured.
The game he got injured, the game before he was rested against Crystal Palace, he was on the bench, and we came on because we was drawing. I think we might have been losing even, let alone drawing when he came on against Crystal Palace, and he came on in like the 70th minute, and then 20 minutes into that game, his hamstring went pop. So
exactly
one or two games
when you've been playing all of last season, consistently, this is coming like
every England game in the summer. Like, this is what it's. The players aren't getting a full break now. It's not just an Arsenal issue. Rodri played too many games. Remember, they were speaking about it at the beginning of the season. The next thing you know,
he said about the thingy.
Yeah. This is a football wide issue. The same thing happened with Liverpool last season. They were able to keep their players fit this season, and that's a good thing. But luck is a part of it because they're playing a lot of games. And when Salah goes away to AFCON next season, they're going to have the same issue then where he's playing getting too much mileage. Spurs have the same issue. Pep Guardiola, the best manager that we've probably seen in the Premier League. Arguably, not.
I'm not saying it's exclusively to Arsenal that only a player like Saka gets overplayed. But at the same time, those other clubs you're mentioning, what they have in common is they've won the league title or a few in recent times. Despite everything you've just said, the injuries and everything like that, they've won. These men are winning stuff. We're not doing anything.
That's why the depth is better. That's why.
I think we can say this.
They're not doing.
It's like it's just down to this, right? I hear both of you two in terms of how you man see it when it comes like, okay, we had the injuries issues and all that, but I think I'm with YG on this, where it says, okay, yes, we did have the injury issues, and then we do have this manager does have an issue on how to rotate it, and this doesn't exclusively go to Arsenal, but my thing is. It's just a matter of how you see how you brought up how Man City and Liverpool, they have their way of dealing with the whole injury issues and how they've gone to win titles and such like that. That kind of goes back to what kind of like the issue with Arteta is. It's like his way of managing that whole situation, though, in it. Do you know what I mean?
as you said, should we talk Man City and the depth that they have? They have £100 million player that wasn't even on the bench in the
Let me tell you something.
Final. They have
Every
£100
team in
million
the
player that wasn't even on the bench. They have £60 million in Doku. They've just signed Savinho for 20 million, who's a Brazilian international. Then they even signed Echeverry. Then they even have they have better depth. Man City, and Liverpool have been at the top table for longer, so their squads are more established. Only last season we had Eddie Nketiah playing 19 games, and we still have Reece Nelson in a part of the squad. So the issue is that we've not had the depth. Liverpool, Liverpool.
We don't have the depth of Liverpool of any of these teams.
Jota, literally, there's loads more players. Harvey Elliott can't even barely get a game, and that's you know what I mean. That's an England international. There's proper depth in these teams. We haven't had that. Now this is where Arsenal. Our right wing option was our second option. I think in right wing was Gabriel Jesus. ACL injury.
And he's injured.
Yeah.
He's injured.
This manager's ruined Jesus. Rushed him back from injury.
The manager, point of correction, the manager didn't, I wouldn't believe you. The manager didn't ruin Jesus. Jesus was injury prone. Please don't even blame Arteta for his injury.
Record at Man City?
He was always injured too at City. He was injured. He didn't play. He was injured most of the time. That was why he wasn't starting. He wasn't starting for City also. And then the board knew all this. They couldn't acquire a better manager. They didn't even give him a replacement. We don't have replacements for Saka in the first place. Jesus was not brought in as a right winger, was he? He was brought in as a striker. We didn't have a right winger, a sub. We didn't have a replacement for Saka. We needed replacement for Saka. The club didn't give it.
Should the manager push for it then?
The thing, wait, quickly though, Solomon. The thing is, right? Jesus
really has.
The thing is, though, when it comes to Gabriel Jesus, the thing with Gabriel, I'm sorry to say though, quickly though, I'll say this, right? When it comes to Gabriel Jesus, right? I mean, it's not that he came in as like a striker though, Solomon. He can play both sides of the flanks as well. He's versatile. Do you know what I mean? That's why, like Arteta, you rated him. Do you know what I'm saying? He can not only play as a 9, but he can play as a left wing and also occasionally as like a right wing option in case it's like it does go down. But primarily, he does play as like a striker, as what you were saying. But I'll let you quickly finish your point, and then we'll go to T.
What I'm just trying to say is this: let's not even consider or act like, we know the kind of manager we have. Look at the squad. Let's be honest with our squad. How many forward players do we have exactly? How many forward players? I would want to know how many forward players we have exactly. Martinelli was off form. Many of us know that Martinelli, Trossard, who else? Martinelli, Trossard, Odegaard, Gabriel Jesus.
Odegaard's midfielder, isn't it? So
okay, let's count our
Martinelli,
how many?
Martinelli, Trossard, Havertz, Gabriel Jesus,
Saka, and Nwaneri.
Now Nwaneri is 6.
That's 9.
And I think Nwaneri is actually technically a number 10. I think.
Exactly, YG.
Exactly.
So why have we only spent £65 million on forwards, but spent all this money on defence and
now, let me finish my point. Why
have we done that?
Let me finish my point now.
Everybody told this manager what you need. When Fergie lost the league title to Man City in 2012 on goal difference, who did he sign to get over the line? A striker that can score and look some goals. But when even when you look at, and I know this is a bit of a example, but even when you look at when Brendan Rodgers nearly won the league, right? We know the players left, Suarez left. Even he still signed a striker in response to nearly winning the league. This manager's response to nearly winning the league in 2023 was, I'm going to sign Kai Havertz to replace Granit Xhaka, and I'm going to sign Partey to I'm going to sign Rice to replace Partey. There was no I'm going to sign a striker that's going to get me over the line. And then he played Kai Havertz as a midfielder for the first quarter of that season that wasn't working. He even tried benching Gabriel, putting it and to put Partey at right back until Partey got injured. Then he nearly won the league again because he sorted the team out at the back end of the season and they were firing. Yeah, and then he responded again Another title race, nearly won the league, took it closer. He responded with, I'm going to sign injury-prone Calafiori, Moreno, and get Sterling on loan. The forward had to be on loan for some reason.
But no one knew that he was
That's
really
what I'm
injury
talking.
prone
That's
when
when
it
I
comes
say
to
it's
Calafiori, though.
That's
I'll
when I
say
say
that
it's a club issue. Like it's not just Arteta.
Exactly.
Arteta
It's not just,
said
it's the
after
club issue.
Bayern
It's
Munich-
obvious. It's the
Arteta
club
said,
issue.
a quote after Bayern Munich, we need more firepower. The manager wants that. The manager can't do the negotiating as well. It was a club issue. That's
So the
we.
club don't want a striker.
Oh, he wants a striker.
Terry,
He
hold
was
on.
begging for a striker in
The club
January.
doesn't want does the club not want a striker then?
They probably
They
want.
don't want a striker, honestly. They don't want a striker. Honestly. Hold on, Tereak. Let me just sorry, I'm sorry, Tereak. Let me just put in point
Go
on
on,
this.
Simon, quickly. Go on.
How can a big club like Arsenal say they have just 6 forward players? How many forward players do we have? 6. And what is even the quality of the 6? That is too little compared to everybody. Do you know how many how many Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, and Manchester United? Do you know how many forward players they have? And you're telling me that in fact, Kai Havertz was originally signed for a left 8, not a striker. It was because it was not working. That was why it was converted.
That makes it worse. He nearly won the league and responded with signing Kai Havertz, a player that's not a striker. He signed him not to be a striker.
He replaced Ghana Xhaka.
And then
What are you talking about?
Calafiori the season after, nearly win the league. Injury prone Calafiori. I looked up his records before we signed him, so that's how we knew how injury prone Calafiori was.
Why didn't the club sign Isak?
The main focus should have been on a striker. That's the main focus.
So on the main topic of striker, because there was a question that was asked by someone here in the audience. I think this is the best segue than anything. Gyökeres or Šeško going into the summer window, because we've been linked to both strikers, or even someone can throw in another striker that we've been linked to. Someone, I believe it was Tereak who also chimed in, Victor Osimhen as well. What are you man saying here? Because Arsenal has been we've been trying to get a striker. We need a striker. Evidently, we need one. What are we saying? YG, I'm gonna start off with you.
Well, people have had their thoughts and opinions on both of them. Some people say Šeško would be better for later on, but not now. But we need somebody for now, so it should be Gyökeres. And I'm saying, especially the fact that we've finished second 3 times on the spin now, and everybody, like, when you look at Gyökeres' numbers as well, everybody said that we needed a striker. They'll look at Gyökeres and say, well, you need to go get him then. So for me, I don't want somebody who is going to potentially be good in the future. I need somebody now that's going to get over the line. And if anything, this manager knows his ass is on the line. This is his 3rd season of finishing second, and he's not delivered us no EFL Cup, no FA Cup, no European Trophy, no league title. So it's a no-brainer. Let me get somebody who's proven, and then we can to try and get over the line. Instead, it seems like he's going for the younger, more moldable option, so he can have him do what he wants him to do. Never forget how he was playing Aubameyang, and that was a player that single-handedly won him a trophy when he came in. But I say Gyökeres.
Okay. T.
Šeško for me. I think Šeško and Gyökeres are both just as massive as a risk as each other. Gyökeres is 27, and people think because Gyökeres is older, that means that he's more proven. I don't think so. Scoring goals in the Championship and in the Liga NOS doesn't make you more proven to me, because we've seen plenty of strikers do that over there and come over to not even necessarily just the Premier League, the bigger leagues, and not do it as well. That league is, and what I see with Gyökeres, I don't think he has the all-round ability to want in terms of what I want from a striker, and I think what's important for the issues that we have. I think Šeško covers more of that. We need more box presence. we lack that. It's when we don't have Havertz, we really lack serious height and box presence in there. And Jesus doesn't really provide that because he plays as like a false nine, doesn't he? He likes to drift wide and that's what Gyökeres likes to do. Gyökeres loves to drift wide, whereas Šeško is more of a box presence. Aerially, he's a massive threat. 6'5", and there's not that he's on the top percent of strikers that win their aerial duels. So I think that's big, and we know how important that is for a Premier League striker nowadays, given the fact that everyone's teams are like the Premier League is the most physical league. The centre backs are built. Like look at Liverpool's. We need a striker that can actually cause them problems, like physically as well. With Šeško, I don't think. I mean, with Gyökeres, sorry, I don't think that he is. His USP and what's made him really shine in that league is because the lack of physicality in their other defenders. Physically, he's strong, he's quick, he's mobile, and I think that's what separates him. I think because of the Premier League style and defenders, even Crystal Palace, Maxence Lacroix, those types of players, Calvin Bassey at Fulham, these are strong, physical, quick players. I don't think that Gyökeres is going to be able to bully them. So when I look with Šeško, he's got more to his arsenal, pardon the pun. He's got more to his game. He can shoot just as hard as Gyökeres. He's better in the air than Gyökeres. Gyökeres has the numbers right now, but I think that Šeško can get to that level. If Šeško gives us 10 goals in the Premier League this season, that's enough for me because he will also help Havertz. So we're not running Havertz into the ground because that was the issue that we had. When we had no other options. The amount of games that we drew this season, lads, is because we had no other options off the bench. Liverpool don't even rate Darwin Núñez, and he's able to come off the bench and win them games. Same with Jota, same with Gakpo, same with Diaz when he doesn't play. That's the issue that we've not had that depth. We've not had that other option. Šeško gives us that other option. He gives us some similarities to Havertz, but also a difference. He's much better at striking the ball, cleaner. That's what I want. That's why I want Šeško, because I think they're just as a risk, and I'd rather take that risk on a younger player that you can develop and hope that he develops rather than a 27-year-old. If he doesn't bang straight away, it's already a failure. Whereas that's not the case necessarily with Šeško.
I mean, and now you were alluding towards both players' sets of stats this season. For those who don't know who are watching, Victor Gyökeres this season for Sporting Lisbon in 33 matches has scored a total of 39 goals with 7 assists, and as towards Benjamin Šeško for Red Bull Leipzig has scored in 33 matches 13 goals and 5 assists in the Bundesliga. Solomon, I do want to quickly get to you. I want to get your take on this as well. Who would you rather take, either Benjamin Šeško as our leading number 9 or Victor Gyökeres or someone else?
Will, actually, for me, if you ask me the striker I feel Arsenal should get, I don't want either of the two of them. I don't want Benjamin Šeško and I don't want Gyökeres. Although, if we get any of them, I'm going to be backing either of the two. If we sign Gyökeres, I'll back Gyökeres. If we sign Šeško, I back Šeško. But for me, I would have wanted Isak, and if Isak is not available, then give me Osimhen. Just give me Osimhen. I need a fighter up front. That's all I need. I'm telling you. I'm not impressed with all this Gyökeres, Šeško thing. It's not my thing. I love what I see. I know I love a fighter on the pitch. The reason why we see the difference in Saka and every other person is because we know what they can do ordinarily on their own. Osimhen will single-handedly win us the Premier League. That's my own. I want to say, but if we get anyone, I back any one of them. That's me.
Now you mentioned Victor Osimhen and how he is a quote unquote complete player for us and what have you. But do you reckon that we can actually afford him in terms of his wage demands? Because he does want a lot.
Let me tell you something. I'm a Nigerian and I understand what Victor Osimhen is all about. Let me tell you something. All we need to do is get that negotiation table, get to that table, give Osimhen incentive. Osimhen will sign the contract. Osimhen let me tell you something. I know what I'm talking about. I know this guy very, very close. Osimhen will join us now. The wage demand wouldn't be a problem for us now. We are a bigger club. We have Kai Havertz on 280,000 pounds per week. For crying out loud, Osimhen's wage demand cannot be more than that. I'm telling you that. Even though you will want to, I am for sure.
I have
We
a.
can afford Osimhen. I'm telling you.
What are you saying, YG? Yeah.
I mean, we're told that Kai Havertz is going to be our number one striker anyway, going into the season. So whoever we sign is basically going to have to play almost second fiddle to him. That's for me why the Sesko signing would make more sense from the club's standpoint. You know, he's not. He's seen as for the future, younger. He's more likely going to sit on the bench while we've got Kai Havertz on 250 grand a week. Because I don't think this club's going to bench Kai Havertz that's on that amount of money for anybody that's going to come in and replace him. I mean, the Victor Osimhen, his name's been floating around. I mean, for me, I want somebody who's going to score enough goals to get us over the line overall. That's what I want overall. See, if we get Sesko, we get Sesko. If we get Gyökeres, we get Gyökeres. If we get Osimhen, we got Osimhen. Personally, I think out of the names mentioned that it's going to be Sesko. Let's just hope that he bangs straight away. That's what I'm hoping for, because should this manager fail again, which going by his track record, it looks more likely than the other way around.
I hear it.
There's going to be nowhere to hide for people that keep defending. There's nowhere to hide. 2024 season, the excuse was City were too good. Pep needs to leave. And it was the same excuse 2023, apart from Saliba got injured, so that's why we didn't win. This season just gone, the excuse mainly surrounds around we had a lot of injuries. That's why
it's true. It's not an excuse. It's true.
That's why Liverpool came in and won the league by about 10 points.
Liverpool had barely any injuries.
It's true.
We dropped points around, I think, 14 draws. I think 10 of them was from winning positions.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. So that means we knew how to go in front, didn't know how to close out the game. So next season is going to be interesting to see how it all pans out. If we sign a striker and have what we need to finally try and get over the line, it's going to be interesting next season. Hopefully we do it. I hope that I'm wrong.
Malik, are you talking to me?
And I've got egg on my face and everybody's saying, I told you we should have kept this manager, blah, blah, blah.
I hear it. Quickly before we head to the quickly on to the summer transfer window, before we get back to the review for our last topic, we did get a new sporting director earlier on. That is Andrea Berta, who have left Atletico Madrid, and he has joined the Arsenal. This will be his first summer window with us, and there's been plenty of buzz around him. As far as expectations, apparently he's been butting heads with Mikel Arteta, according to various sources, in terms of what the direction would be for as far as number 9 goes. And I don't think it has been either, to be honest with you. I'm with you on that, T. You know how these guys just like to stir things up. Yeah. But we've already spoken in terms of how like our striker situation would be. Now, look at the other areas of the pitch, and Solomon, I'm gonna start with you. If you were like, now, let's say you were in the room with like Andrea Berta, yeah, what would be some of your demands from him? Say you're all right, here's like a list I want you to do. Go ahead and do it for me to make this team champions next season.
Okay. For me, if I want us to be champions, now this is what I want us to do. 1, get a striker, preferably.
Aside from getting a striker.
Okay. Now, number 2, we actually need someone to replace Martinelli. Martinelli is not good enough for the club. Martinelli is not good enough for the club. I'm not giving up on him, but he's definitely not good enough at the moment. So I think he needs to be replaced. I think we need a backup for Saka. And I think I will tell him to get to the market and get a backup for Saka. Probably sell Martinelli, keep Trossard, Get a winger, probably maybe I don't know, whichever one, a good winger at the moment, aside the striker. Then I will also want him to understand the fact that we need experienced players that can get the job done, clutch players. We need to be among the elites at the moment. That's what we just need the club to. I will tell him, put the club in a very good position by getting enough quality to get us across the line. For me, that's what I'll be telling him. Get us those quality, especially what we need at the moment.
Do you remember? I'll get to you on YG in just 1 second. Solomon, what about like as for, we're talking about our rivals, but do you want people to leave as well? Departures. You know what I mean? There's plenty of deadwood that's in that club that need to go. Do you want to see people leave? Tierney, Zinchenko,
Personally, if I would talk about leaving, I think Martinelli. Martinelli. I don't know. If
and
probably,
Martinelli
but
too. You mentioned that.
Martinelli has to. He's not good enough at the moment. I don't see him good enough. I think. I feel Tierney should leave. Definitely Sterling will leave. I'm very very sure. Definitely Sterling should leave. Tierney, I think, is going to leave in two. I think Zini should leave. Who else? I think Zene should leave. Then please, I think we should just let Nelson leave, because basically, I don't know. I don't think there's a future for him in the club, because basically, he's not going to. There's no way he's going to be the replacement for Saka. There is no way. So why keep him if we can? If he's not if he's not good enough, then we need better quality. For me, I feel a lot of those fringe players, even Fabio Vieira, I think all those people should be gone, and we should do something. Then I think we need a new goalkeeper. All those are sets of goalkeepers. Funny enough, they are not good enough. I think Raya is okay. I know he has gotten a good goal, but I think but it's not really a priority for the goalkeeper. But for me, I think that's all I need. Those are the people I need to leave at the moment. Aside that, I think I'm okay with the meaning of our play. I think I want Partey to stay. I think Thomas Partey stay. We can get a year or two in it from him.
Okay. YG, yeah, over to you, yeah. Let's say you same question, yeah. If you had like a list of demands, a list of expectations for Andrea Berta's first summer window, yeah. Well, aside from getting a striker, what would they be and why?
I'd say another number 10, because I don't think Odegaard, him playing as a number 10 throughout the season, I think we need more creativity. He's plenty of times, especially the season just gone, where he's shown he's made some assists that were some good passes, but for the most part, we've seen the same trick from him, trying to chip the ball through into the box that doesn't work pretty much 100% of the time. I don't know if he's carrying anything. I don't know, because the Odegaard in 2023, like that was a serious player, but he's just not been the same since. I'd say another number 10, left winger. I'm open to us selling Trossard or Martinelli. I would still look at another right winger, even though we've got Wanyeri there, but he also can play as number 10 as well. I think that's his natural position anyway, but I'd still look at it. I'm coming from a standpoint of being a bit like, we need to get over the line kind of thing. So I'm probably sounding a bit greedy, wanting everything, but Tina's leaving. We know Skelly's going to be our main left back. Calafiori, he's not going to stay fit long enough for anything. So maybe trade for trade there in terms of Tina's going. So get somebody else in there. I think maybe another right.
We don't need another left.
I don't think another left back necessary.
If we're getting rid of Tina, just for the numbers, another right side. I don't think another right side of centre back. Yeah, but my main places is obviously aside from strikers, so the main places is basically the attack. That's basically the main. Oh, and goalkeeper, of course. Goalkeeper. Can't forget.
Fairs. T, same question.
Yeah. So for me, 2 first-team signings. I think we got one of them through the door, and that is the ones that come straight in and already improve the first team straight away. Like the first 11, sorry, not the first team. Zubimendi, of course, that's the one who's coming in. I do think we need someone in that position anyway, just because with Partey, yeah, I don't think he's been anywhere near as bad as what people make out like this season. But it would be nice if we could demote him down into Jorginho's role and he'll play more than Jorginho. Help that DM settle in. I don't get people that want to get rid of Partey and want us to sign 2 DMs because you want us to have 2 midfielders that are going to settle. Like, come on, let's be serious now. In the Premier League, it's going to be very difficult to find that. And then what? And then spend 100 million or something on Wharton, like when we've already got other issues that we need to sort out. It's not realistic. So yeah, Zubimendi. I would like a left winger, and I agree with YG here. I would sell either Martinelli or Trossard. Me personally, I would sell Trossard because it makes more sense financially. Because Trossard's 30 now, and we can probably get 25 million for him, recoup what we paid for him, and he's been excellent for us. And then kind of have Martinelli, and me preferably would be Nico Williams, but I'm not sure if he's going to move. That's the type. I want players with more pace. I want players with more dynamism. And I think we lack that. Martinelli gives us that, and he's one of the few players that do. That's again why I like Sesko. I won't be mind Gyökeres, but I'd prefer Sesko as well because of that. Because they give us that dynamism which we lack, that threat behind. I think that's a big issue that we face this season. Why we come up against so many low blocks? It's because we don't have enough runners. Look at Liverpool again. Look at Liverpool, Man City now. Haaland, Marmoush, Doku, they have real threat, pace kills, pace scares. So yeah. And then also I do think that we need goalkeeper, and then here it's either a defender or a right winger. Yeah, depending on, I guess that's going to be more market opportunity based. We did try to go after Huijsen, but he chose Real Madrid in the end. I do think we need another defender because Tomiyasu's not going to be back until January, and Tomiyasu's a key player because he covers so many positions. Look, we missed Ben White this season. We had to flog Timber because of it, because Tomiyasu wasn't there, and we had to play Timber through injury. In them PSG games, it turns out he was injured. That's why he had to have the ankle operation. And I don't want to do the same again. We can't afford to do that. We can't afford to do it, and because it's at the detriment of them and the team. The whole reason Ben White's injured is because of Tomiyasu again. We had to play Ben White through injury again, almost the whole of the season before. So yeah, I just want to get that depth sorted. My thing is, you don't want to bring too many signings as well, because too much upheaval is just as bad. Because you've got too many players settling in, too much going on, too many new faces in the dressing room trying to work their way. And we know in transfers anyway, and Arsenal, we've been quite successful with our transfer business to get us to this level in the past, 4 or 5 years or so. And even then, we've still signed a lot of duds, players that aren't Sambi Lokonga, Fabio Vieira, that hasn't worked out, Marquinhos, those players. We're going to, in the transfer market, no matter what, no matter who you are, you can be Man City, you can be Liverpool. You don't just have to be Man United. You're going to sign bad players and players that aren't going to work out. So trying to limit that and be the best as possible. That's why, again, I like us with Sesko, because that's a player that we've tracked for many years now. It's not just, we didn't just pop up on the market for him just. It's someone that Arsenal have liked and Arteta has liked. And yeah, we've been in contact with him. So yeah, those players, I want 5 players. I don't any more than that. Maybe just a little development one. I think Wanyeri's role will step up YG as well. I think Wanyeri, he will play more important minutes. He might get the same games because he played 37 games, but have more of an importance than what we saw this season. Him actually come on and make a difference and beat Arteta turn into him. So yeah, hopefully that happens. And I think as well, you'll see from preseason as well, Max Dowman, he will get a few games. Not many, probably get 9, 10, a few Carabao Cup games, but he's a serious talent. And Arsenal put enough pressure on him already. Arteta's name dropped him in how many press conferences. He's going to be in the first team. That's going to be someone who's going to make an impact of some sorts. Probably 9 or 10 games. Yeah, he'll be serious, and that will help us in that sort of attacking midfield depth.
I hear it. Quickly, I know that it's like a revolving theme as far as the left winger. If if Arteta and company were to go after Marcus Rashford, because I did see from various reports that he's available £40 million. Yeah, Arsenal were to make a bid, they go after him. Yeah, would your man be opposed to it?
Nah, I don't want any of those subjects. I don't want them. Because that is exactly the issue we had with Kai Havertz. If Havertz had not come from Chelsea, if we had bought Havertz from let's say when he was coming from Germany, when he was from Leverkusen, I'm sure he won't be getting the number of sticks he's getting. It would have been a successful signing. If I'm telling you, if you know what I mean, Will. The only issue, the only reason why we're stigmaing Havertz at the moment, look at the goal contribution of Havertz, what Havertz has done so far this season, for the 2 seasons he has been with us. Let me tell you, Will, if he wasn't from Chelsea, take away the blue side of Chelsea from the character, would you tell me Havertz is a failure? Has Havertz been a failed signing? Just,
I mean,
can you answer that question?
will I look at Havertz as a failed signing? I mean, I
Take
would
away
want. I would
the blue
want.
patch. The blue patch. Take away the blue part of it. Let's assume he's coming from Leverkusen. We signed him from Leverkusen, and he had dropped these stats. How would you have rated Havertz so far?
For me, I mean, I look at Havertz season. He hasn't been terrible for us. No, he's been solid. But the problem again, when you look at the circumstances around it, you know what I mean. I feel like when it comes to Havertz, he does fit the mold for what Arteta wants. He wants someone who's lengthy, he's good in the air, and et cetera, et cetera. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like if Arteta were to fill in more of the gaps in the midfield, do you know what I mean? Creatively, creatively speaking, I think Havertz would actually excel more, especially at left wing. I think that's one of the major issues I see personally. I think T and I have had many conversations when it comes to Martinelli. How I don't rate Martinelli as much as from that great season that he had a few years ago. But that's just my opinion. I think that Martinelli should leave because he's getting paid 180K a week for doing nothing. Yes, he had a few instances that were brilliant. You know what I mean? But again, he hasn't done it on a more or less consistent basis. But that's how I see it. I do want to quickly wrap this up though, gents, because I know that we have things to do as well as the Champions League final is in like literally just a few hours. But quickly, I do want to say this. Yeah, worst player of the season. I'm gonna go around the panel, and you man can tell me one or two players that come to mind, or a definitive player of your choosing. I'm gonna go with you on YG first. Yeah, in your mind this season, who would be the worst player this season for Arsenal?
It has to be Sterling. It has to be Sterling.
To be honest, yeah, it's Sterling.
It
He
has
got
to be Sterling.
no goals in the Premier League. The thing is with Sterling,
It
because
has to be.
when he came in, I thought to myself, here we go, we're doing it again, getting the Chelsea reject. But then I thought to myself, let me just think more positive about it, as in case of like we see the only positive I took from the Sterling signing at the time was, well, this manager got Kai Havertz in, and I'll give him credit, which I have done before, previously, that he got the best out of Kai Havertz. This is the most prolific that he's been. So I took that and I thought, well, that's the only positive that I could see from this Sterling signing, that he might get just maybe half of what he was in 2019. But at the same time, what needs to be called out is how much the manager chose not to use him. Because if, say, Sterling came on in a few more games and he got an equaliser or put us back in front or anything like that, we don't know if that could have gave him, because Sterling looked like he didn't know how to play football, and he looked like a player that just needed to score that goal kind of thing to get his old self back. But yeah, he's been the worst signing this season, worst player.
I'm sorry, Sterling was terrible. Sterling was terrible. Let's not even go there. Let's not even act like he did anything. Even when we gave him the chance, even the games, he didn't do anything. I'm sorry.
He didn't do anything.
He didn't do anything. So for me, it's not. It's terrible.
Okay, that's fair. Tereak, what are you saying?
I mean, yeah, it's the worst player was Sterling. Again, this is what we mean. We don't we don't actually need as much as we think. We don't need to add 30 goals into this team. We just need to add 10 or so, and Sterling couldn't even give us that. So, yeah, Sterling was the worst. But I gotta say, Odegaard for me, in terms of a player that we have expectations for, Odegaard was the one who was furthest away from those expectations. Yeah, when he came back from his injury, those first few games, it looked like, oh yeah, this is it. We've got him back now. That Forest game, the West Ham, that was probably the few times we had that right pod really working together. And then he struggled from then on in, struggled to make an impact, wasn't influential in any of the big games really. Didn't score enough, as Rich said earlier, didn't really shoot enough. So for me, Erdegaard was the one that had the biggest drop off. Remember, he was a player of the season before, and he's far from that this year. So yeah, he ended the season a little bit better. He decided to shoot. Ever since that PSG game when Donnarumma made that save, he thought, you know, I'll have a shot from that one. Shot against Liverpool, smacked the post, Marino goes in. Shot against Southampton, won us the game. Too little, too late. But yeah, I'd say Erdegaard in terms of expectations.
I agree with you, T. While I do think Raheem Sterling is a fantastic shout because we basically just got him, but thankfully it was on loan and it wasn't a permanent deal basis. Thank God for that. But and he didn't really do. He basically just did fuck all for us. But Odegaard, he is our captain. He has a lot of expectations for us because he is wearing the captain's armband. He represents the club, and he wasn't. I will say one of my biggest criticisms of him this season is that he wasn't as clutch as I expected him to be. We talked to a lot of ops, you know what I mean, and one of the biggest conversations would be between Odegaard and Bruno Fernandes, and some say that Bruno Fernandes is better than the Odegaard. We as Arsenal fans like to say that Odegaard is better than Bruno Fernandes, but I think based off this season, I think we can say that Bruno has been better than him in terms of how he is clutch. Why I'm bringing this up is because of the clutch moments that player has and other players from that are looked at as the key man in certain teams. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like with Odegaard viewed as our captain, he does not provide that. It was very lackluster. Do you know what I mean?
There is context surrounding it again because that whole right pod's been injured, walking wounded this season. Timber playing through injury, Ben White injured, Saka. Saka was nowhere near his full fitness ever since he come back from his injury, really. And even Odegaard himself struggled, and you can see. I think the issue again, and my issue is, and I mentioned it to you in a group chat, Will. It's because we have, again, because of our lack of depth, we've had to play him week in, week out through this issue. And that's the issue that we have as Arsenal right now. If something's not working, we don't really have anything else to change it up. So, yeah, that's a lesson that we hopefully learn. And I think Waneri will help with that next season.
I hope so. I hope that he does tweak the system a bit, lads, and hope that Odegaard, not Odegaard, I hope that now Waneri does get into fit more of that, number 10 role. Hopefully we see that in preseason. And hope that he just, either
you'll see Max Dowman in preseason. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, that's
right. I promise you.
That's another kid that's coming through the ranks as well. A lot of praise for him for Max Dowman. Supposedly he's going to be one of the next real gems coming through the academy. But we look at this. We have the worst player. Now let's go to the best player of the season. I'll start with you, Tereak. Who do you think is the best player of the season for Arsenal?
I went for. I'm not going to run through the candidates because I might give you one of your ones away, but I'll go for who I think it is, and I think it's David Raya. I think he deserves it. Absolutely. From the first game in the season, I know it seems like a long time ago, but that Wolves game, those two massive saves from then, and then the second game of the season against Aston Villa, we don't win that game without David Raya. And then even our first Champions League game when we had Spurs, Atalanta, Man City in that week, David Raya penalty save, and it turns out the two teams that we lost to in the Champions League, Inter Milan and PSG, I know they're both playing in the finals. So we lost to the winners and the runners up in the Champions League. David Raya for me, consistent throughout. He had a few dodgy stuff like against Crystal Palace. What was the other game? He struggled in both Crystal Palace home and away, to be fair. But like, who else was it? Who else? There was another game. Newcastle, he made a few more mistakes. There was all others, but he bailed us out in that. David Raya, 100%. Like we don't make it into the top two. We're probably top four without David Raya's contribution.
definitely a world-class goalkeeper. I don't care what no one says. For me, the best goalkeeper in the league. I mean, by like a country mile. At least that's in this guy's opinion.
Yeah.
Easily. YG, man, what are you saying? You already said, you're worst player of the league. You have to have a best player in the league, man.
Yeah, I'll agree with Tereak there, Raya. Yeah, it has to be the saves that he made in those games, and going by how our season's gone, nobody else really stands out over him, really, in terms of what they've done this season. I mean, that's
what I'd add to it as well, YG. The upheaval he's had in front of him. We've not had a settled back four all season. We've had no settled back four all season, and that's difficult for a goalkeeper because the defense, your back five, you want them to be a settled unit that know each other, know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and we've not had that due to injuries and stuff. So yeah, David Raya.
Yeah, I'll have to go with David Raya. This things, when I don't like when he's doing the sweeper keeper stuff, being an outfield player essentially, but I know it's a system thing. But yeah, I'd have to go with Raya overall.
And Solomon, yeah. Last but not least, yeah. What are you saying?
Yeah.
Best player of the season in your mind?
Funny enough, I'm going to be going for somebody a little bit different from what everybody is going with. I'm going to be going with Timber because take him off that team, I think we are done for the season. Everything we are actually fighting for, we wouldn't be fighting for it because we're lucky he didn't get injured. I know he got injured towards the end of the season, but had he had been injured in any of our runs, I'm telling you, we are out of everything. We will be out of the top four. We'll be out everywhere because there was no Benjamin White. And then considering the fact that he did, I think he had his ACL. He had to come in injured. He came in from injury, just recovering. For me, I think he has done. I think for me, he saved our season. It was an epitome of everything our season was about. If not for him, we would not be where we are. I'm sorry, for me, he is my player of the season. Timber, Timber. I think he saved us this season. He saved us. Forget about it. He saved us. He saved us a lot this season. He saved our blushes. For me, that's just what I think.
And that is a great shout as well. I'm a huge fan of Timber. I think in the way that he bounced back from his torn ACL injury, and he just bounced back into the team, and how he's able just to take that right back position by storm. It's just impeccable. For me, I think Waj, I will 100% agree with this comment right here. Yeah, Waj, yeah, shout out to him.
Being sarcastic though.
Huh?
He's being sarcastic though.
Oh well. I don't give a fuck at this point. I'm gonna get clipped for that, but either way. But no, but for me, I will say Declan Rice. In my opinion, I think yes, he did have more like a trippy start at the start of the season, but towards the second half, I think he has really shapen up and took command of the midfield when we needed someone as clutch. I think prime example would be the Real Madrid game in the Champions League, where he basically just got those 2 goals from the free kicks out of nowhere, and where we really needed someone into that midfield. Odegaard didn't really step up as what we needed him to be. Partey, when he's there, he's him and Declan Rice's chemistry really is just off the charts in my opinion, and I hope that form does continue on.
Honorable mention to Gabriel. Don't forget. Gabriel,
yes, big Gabby. Yes.
Yeah, big Gabby. He saved us a lot this season.
Yeah.
Big Gabby has been.
Big goals as well. Scored some big goals. Scored against City, Tottenham, Sporting away.
Yeah.
Big,
Definitely. Lads, we have reached to the final end, to the end of the show. Do appreciate every single one of you for popping in and just chilling, just talking about the one club that we all love, and that is Arsenal. I'll go to each one of you to shout out your respective channels, and hopefully that everyone can like and subscribe. YG, let them know where they can find you, fam.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me on. You can find me at Yorkshire Gunner on YouTube, Instagram I can't remember my handle, on Instagram, because I know my handle on there, I think, is the same as my TikTok. And then my X is, so on X, it's YGAFC18, YGAFC18. On Instagram, it's well, my Instagram. Oh yeah, YG_AFC, and I think it's the same on TikTok as well. Let me just quickly have a look at that, so I don't take up time. Yeah, YG_AFC on TikTok and Instagram. Yorkshire on YouTube, and yeah, YGAFC18 on X. That's where you can find me.
Awesome. Solomon, let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, big up everybody. You can always find me on Football Fan View everywhere on every social media, TikTok, Facebook, everywhere. Just Football Fan View. We just give our opinion over there and we let it go. So I'm looking forward to seeing every one of you around. Thank you very much.
Of course. And Tereak, let them know where they can find you, fam.
Yeah, my channel's been a bit dormant at the moment on YouTube, but Tereak Talks on YouTube, X as well. If you put Tereak Talks on X, YouTube, and TikTok, those are the places. I need to make my first TikTok as well. That'll be back in July as well, people. So yeah, I really do appreciate it.
Will you be streaming again for the 25-26 season?
Yeah, I will be. Yeah, definitely. I just had to have a bit of a break mentally, recover, focus on other things in life. So yeah, man. I'll be on holiday for the beginning. For the very first game of the season, I won't be here. I'll be on holiday. But I'll still put some content up on that from sunny Spain.
Awesome. We'll be looking forward to that, fam. Because again, each one of these men, they make some fantastic content, and all their links to their respective channels and socials will be in the description in just a little bit. But yo, people, appreciate y'all coming through. Smash a like on the stream. And yeah, man, we out.
Hey, big up Will, bro.